No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
So, all right, urban gardeners, here we are, beginning of March, and we're getting our first snow of the year. As everybody probably knows, California is getting hit right now, and I'm only just minutes from the California border, so we're getting a bit of it too here in Southern Oregon. But this is actually really great. This is something I haven't seen here in years. So great to see some snow. We'll see how long it lasts. But all right, let's get growing. All right. Welcome, garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people, to the Urban Gardener channel and the Let's Get Growing show. Really excited to have all of you along with me here. I'm Enoch, I'm your host, and we've got our last winter show. This is just the last, basically, one-on-one, kind of just a real kind of laid back kind of discussion type in a live stream here on the Urban Gardener channel before we get started with our new season of shows coming up this next week. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that just a little bit later on in the show. We've got lots and lots of things going on right now. And just wanted to kind of just talk about a little bit what's going on. I mean, I just showed you that clip there before we started the show. It's completely white outside. I am really shocked. I mean, I heard about some snow hitting California and them getting bombarded, and I was literally saying to myself, well, I hope they bring a little bit of it up our way, because I haven't seen a white day during the daytime. I mean, by this time we're already, heading towards, it's 11 o'clock noon here on the West Coast where I live. And usually if we get like a snow overnight over the last few years, it's gone by this time. Man, we've got a few inches out there. It looks really, really cool to see. And hopefully we're just getting bombarded everywhere up in our hills. And that's just going to really help us out as everything really starts warming up for us, because we are definitely, for sure, looking at another really hot summer. That's just something we're gonna have to get used to. But every time we get the chance and opportunity to get some snow like we've got, that's just really, really welcoming, and really, actually, it just really brings a smile to my face. And that's really weird, because I'm not actually really a person who digs snow that much. I spent a lot of time when I was younger up in Alaska, and I've spent many winters up in there. And after you spend a few winters up there and you get a chance to get out, you don't really look forward to it much anymore. But but now, I mean, after dealing with some of the stuff we've dealt with, the climate changing and all of that sort of stuff over the last 7-8 years here, we've seen just a progression of change that's happened here that's just really completely undeniable that it's happening. And really that does come down to the fact that we don't see snow. And again, like I said, I haven't seen snow like this here in the valley for probably, again, like 8 years or so. When I first moved here about 13 years ago, that it snowed like that all the time during the winter. We would spend weeks under a white blanket around here, and that's just something that just doesn't happen, and it hasn't happened for us really, again, for years. So it's really great to see. I'm really excited about it. I hope it sticks around for a little bit longer. I hope maybe we get some more, even really pack up those hills around us and really get some good snowpack up there. As much as we can get. I mean, it's already, like I said, at the beginning of March right now. So we are heading steadfastly towards spring and summer. That stuff is going to catch up to us real quick. And that's something I've really got to be thinking about when it comes to all of my garden projects and all the things I've got growing on here, because, things are starting to really pile up and really stack up when you got as many projects as I do. But again, too, it's always really exciting to be able to dig into those projects and really get them going and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, now I'm gonna have to take just a little bit of a break outdoors, though. And it's a welcome little break, because I do have some more things to get figured out as we get moving on towards this next weekend. I mean, just really an exciting week for us here on the Urban Gardener channel. And let me check here. We've got, and you know what? Let me see here. Okay, okay. Just want to check in with everybody here in the chat real quick. And we're trying something a little bit differently this week. I thought I would test it out. The program we use for our show does allow us to stream out to some other platforms. So today we're actually streaming out to our Facebook page, the Urban Gardener Facebook page this weekend. So I thought I would kind of test that out and check that out. Hopefully, and already starting to look like we're getting a little bit of people coming in from Facebook as well too. So I want to welcome all of you from Facebook if you're joining with us here. And also, too, again, everybody who's here, I think I kind of tried to skip over this. I'm so excited this week, but definitely give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, you know, all that stuff. Hit the bell notification, get notified of all of our upcoming videos and shows and all of that. And be sure to share. If you get the opportunity to share our videos, share our content, go to our Facebook page that we're streaming out to right now. Share this around with all of your garden groups, your garden friends, all that sort of stuff, because I'm telling you, we're gonna have a really great, exciting year this year for the Let's. Come and join with us each and every weekend. Again, too, I mentioned this last week, we are expanding to Sunday as well. We'll talk again more about that in just a little bit here. And also, big, huge shout out at the top of the show too to all of our replay watchers. We get tons of replay watchers watching our show. I really want to make sure I'm saying hello to all of you and thank you for watching. And again, to everybody who's watching, get in the comment section. Let me know what you got growing on and where you're growing from. Let me know if you got any questions or any comments or any thoughts about our show or even possible guests you would like to see on our program. All right. And if you are here too, ask a question or a comment, and we just might feature it on the show. And it really does help, especially on these type of shows. It's our last one of the year, but it really helps to keep the conversation rolling as we get moving. But I do have plenty of things to actually kind of talk about too, but I would love to answer some questions or address any sort of comments or anything like that that you might have. So please definitely do that. And real quick as well too, especially because we're on Facebook right now, but anybody who's joining with us, we have a really great Facebook community on our Facebook group, the Let's Get Growing group. And definitely come and join with us there at the Let's Get Growing group and share some of your gardens. It's a great place to share some video clips, pictures, questions, answer questions, thoughts, all that sort of stuff. You know, there's like I said, there's some really great gardeners and awesome people there. So definitely join in with the conversation over there as well after the show and during the week. All right. Oh, let's do this. I'm gonna check in with everybody again here real quick. See, we got some. All right, we already got a nice little lively comment section. Let's jump in here and start welcoming some people into the show. Starting off with YouTube's #1 moderator. This guy is the best of the best we've got with us. Jay Dixon joining us from Western Ontario, Canada. And he's moderating the show, dropping in all sorts of great links for you there too to check out. And Wickershire Project, thanks for joining with us. Great to see you at the top of the show here. Awesome, awesome. And of course, we got joining with us late at night. Well, maybe not that late, but in the evening over in the UK, we got with us each and every week too, our good friend Rob's Allotment Gardening. Thank you, Rob, for joining with us too. Adam, good to see you again, man. Adam, great to see you. And let's see here. Okay. And I better make sure it's off all the way. All right. Okay, I'm trying to, let's see here. I'm trying to, it's already moving. I gotta catch up here. All right, all right. Rob saying pleasure as always. Excellent. Yes, definitely, definitely. And oh, quick question right at the top here, Wickershire Project asking, is it true melons, smaller varieties produce more while trellised versus ground crawling? You know, I've grown them both ways. I don't think I've really noticed much of a difference, you know. Um, they are just naturally ground crawlers. When we're trellising things, we're really kind of taking them out of their natural situation, but it's also, letting a lot of good air in there and, allowing for certain things. But to tell you the truth, that's just one of those ones where I don't know if I've actually seen a real difference in production between the different ones. And I've grown some of those, the little smaller watermelons, sugar babies, I think is what they were. And I've grown those both in my back area and on a trellis that I have that goes up against the building. And really, only really see maybe slight differences, and I would, I it's hard to say because I would say that preferably letting them crawl around and do their thing on the ground and do all of that might be a good way to just do it because it's the natural way. But man, I'm a small space gardener, so I've only got limited spaces. In that situation, I can only really think about maximizing my space by going up vertically. And so we've got to really do that with a lot of our vining and those types of plants and take advantage of that space. So it's definitely a good thing to do is trellising if you have the if you don't have the space and you can build the trellises and do that sort of thing. It's really a great way to go to be able to utilize your small space. But if you've got a big backyard, you've got a big amount of space, and you've got enough space, I just let those things go wild in their own little spot and let them do their thing. And I'm sure that either way, you're going to get an all right amount of production from them for sure. And again, that really also comes down to how we're taking care of the plants, all sorts of other environmental factors and all that sort of stuff when it comes down to it. Pollination, everything. There's a lot of little factors on whether or not we're going to get a certain amount of production off of our plants. But I would, definitely, it just depends on your situation on what you're going to do as far as trellising and all of that. Okay. All right, all right. Yeah, so again, too, and I will be doing some videos here later on in as we get moving on into the season, kind of showing you a little bit of the, just the simple do-it-yourself trellising that I do. I've really moved, over the years away from, any of those like wire cages and those types of trellising and all of that. And it's really, really simple to just build yourself, just simple little wood do-it-yourself. I have these like tower cages that I build out of them. We also just do some like kind of leaning kind of trellises that we just kind of set up against some walls and some things like that to kind of grow up as well too, in order to take advantage of that really good wall space that we've got in the back patio that gets a lot of good sunlight during the day. So so I go up and around and out with this really cool kind of trellis that we have in order to really again maximize that small space that we have. So definitely stay tuned on the channel for some of those sort of things as we get growing along in the season. Okay. Awesome. All right. And yeah, as far as the garden and everything's going right now, again, we're on just a little bit of pause right now as we let the snow do its thing outside. We still got a lot of things growing on right here inside the house. All of our peppers are popping up and coming up and starting to really get growing. We've started our tomatoes. We'll be talking about that in an upcoming video. And some other things that we're getting ready to do. We're going to start doing soil blocks this next week and get all of our cool season crops and all that sort of stuff outside and outdoors, get that all done and going. Lots and lots to start getting into as I was just mentioning just a little bit ago. Spring is steadfastly coming our way. It's already March 2nd. I mean, how exciting is this time of year, right? I mean, if you really are a passionate plant person like myself, if you are an extreme garden enthusiast like myself, there is no better time of year than right now with all the anticipation of what's about to start happening. And again, I mentioned, there's a lot of work. Us gardeners, when we got a lot of work ahead of us, a lot of projects, a lot of that sort of stuff. But the great thing about all of that work, it's not like going and punching the clock at some place down the street. You know what I mean? It's really fulfilling. It's a huge enjoyment. And when I spend a day outside and I get to do all this sort of stuff and get things done and check things off my to-do list and everything, there's just no better feeling, at the end of the day. Tired knees or a little achy, whatever. It doesn't even matter. I always end the day with a big old smile on my face, and I just love it. I just love being out there. And so, it's that time of year, and really looking forward to a lot of stuff this year. And as I was talking about, we're going to get into here in just a few minutes, talking about what's about to happen here for our show. This is actually a talk show. This is a gardening talk show. We get to talk to some of the garden community's most awesomest, most talented gardeners out there, and we're gonna have a really, really great year this year, man. And I'm really excited about it. Rob says, I'm going to be starting my toms soon. Yeah, definitely. Just getting mine going. Again, my whole real strategy this year, again, because like I mentioned, we may have snow out there with all that sort of stuff, but it's going to get really hot. It's going to probably get really hot really quick, if any of the previous years are any indicator of what we're looking forward to. And so, my strategy this year is to get them out early, and earlier than my last frost date. It's recommended that you get your tomatoes out after your last frost date. You want to be right around that right around that time, in order to ensure that you're not going to have to do anything extra to protect them. Well, that's not been working out for me the last few seasons for my tomatoes. So again, my strategy this year is to get my tomatoes started early and get them in the ground in early April. And if there is any chance of frost, I'm just going to do the work. I'm just going to get out there. I'm going to cover them up. I'm going to do what I have to do to protect them from whatever little bit of frost that we start getting, at any point in time between now and our last frost date. So that's really the strategy this year. I really hope it really works out, because I want to get back to producing tomatoes like we used to produce right here in our gardens. Let's see here. Wickshire is saying we have banana melon, pale del sapo. Oh my gosh, you got some Mudha Ross. Okay. A lot of names, a lot of great names right there. I have grown that Minnesota midget before. I've done that one. And honey rock, and the honey rock as well too. But lots of great varieties there. Gonna have some really, really great melons coming out of your garden this year. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't really decided exactly which melons I'm going to grow yet this year. I do have, and again, as everybody knows who watches my channel or watches the show, cucumbers were like the first thing I really grew. It was the first food I really grew. It's one of the ones I really enjoy the most. And I've got a couple of really great new kind of varieties from a place called the Cucumber Shop. The Cucumber Shop. And Jay Tracy runs the Cucumber Shop, and he sent me out a couple of really great gourmet varieties of cucumbers that he has out of his Cucumber Shop. And I'm really excited about growing these along with a few others. And then again, too, I haven't really decided on the melons yet, but we'll definitely be growing a few of those, mostly probably out at our front yard urban farm garden plots that we have over at my friend Mike's place is what we'll do is we'll probably, so we'll have just a little bit more space in one of the rows to be able to just really let some melons really grow and do their thing. I'll probably still be trying to grow maybe some of those smaller ones like the sugar babies and whatnot up those trellises as well. That's something I try to do each and every year. So yeah, we'll probably be on that, but I'll definitely try to pick out a couple of different varieties and new varieties that I could try when it comes to melons. But we're just a little bit off from having to worry about taking care of and starting melons for us. We've got a lot of cool season stuff to get to before we get to all of that stuff. Those are the sort of things that I'm going to do straight out of the garden. I'm going to, I'm going to directly seed these sort of things into the ground when it comes down to it. It's been how I've gotten my best results from any of the melons, any of the squash, cucumbers, even. These sort of things being warmer weather, wanting warmer soil temperatures, and they really just do not like growing in smaller containers when you're starting seeds. They don't like those little seed cells. Definitely don't use the small seed cells that we use, like the 72 cell trays that I use for like peppers and tomatoes and things like that. I definitely don't use anything that's small on a melon or a squash or anything like that, or any basically curcubits. They just do not like their roots to get bound up or anything. They want their root system just to start going, and they start going too. So that's always your best bet, is to get those out directly sown. And so that'll have to wait until definitely after our last frost date, maybe even another few weeks after that. I would say maybe a couple weeks after that, as we start temping out our soil. I want to make sure my soil is nice and warm. At least up above 50, 55, and, in the 60s, really good, that sort of thing. Just a warmer soil temperature is going to really help out. And let's see here. Jay says, cucumber, your gateway vegetable in more ways than one. It definitely is. Growing that cucumber completely changed my life. It did. It really completely changed my life. If I didn't grow that cucumber, we probably wouldn't be sitting here this weekend. That's just the truth of it. I'm telling you. Definitely a gateway. Definitely one of one of the things I'm one of the most grateful for in my life is that friend showed up and gave me that little cucumber start that day. It was just one of the best things ever. Next to having my daughter and coming up this summer too, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, I got my granddaughter coming. I'm really, really getting more and more excited about that every single day. I can't wait. But yeah, other than my daughter and my granddaughter being born, I think that was probably one of the next best days of my life, because it's really, the garden, as I've mentioned, it's one of those things. When I end the day out in the garden, I'm ending it with a big smile on my face. It's really changed my outlook and who I am and all that sort of stuff. Is being able to spend time in the garden, especially early on. Early on was a time in my life I really needed that too. I really needed that. And really, again, too, just so thankful too, because now I got to know so many really cool, just amazing, awesome people, in the gardening world, whether they're viewers of our channel or people I've gotten to meet through visits and doing videos out on the road, really great. I've got some really great friends now, all out of all of this, so gardening is just, one of those things, again, as I mentioned, is just a life changer. It's one of those things that really can change your perspective and really uplift you on it, especially on one of those down days. You're not feeling so good that day, and mentally and thinking about things and all of that. Just go spend a little while planting some things, get your hands and fingers in that soil when it's ready to be worked. Definitely, unless, as I'm gonna say, it's probably really hard if you're in some freezing cold areas to start working the soil. But right now, anyways, but when we get that opportunity to do that, there's just something about participating in the activity of gardening that just really enlightens the soul, and I just love it. And we can start saying again too here. I planted 12 cucumber vines last year. I got slammed with fruit. More we picked, the plants got mad and doubled up production. My family, the goat and chicken topped out on cukes. Yeah, I mean, I could tell. I mean, you're growing lots of different varieties there, man. I'm telling you, you're going to get lots and lots of good stuff, and it's really great to hear. And again, too, one of the awesome things I'm thinking, that is that sort of thing where you get to also share those. You got some great animals in your property there too, so that really nothing's going to waste, And even if it is ending up in your compost, I always look at that, is it still, it's just, getting ready to regenerate the next year's soil and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So again, nothing going to waste there. But love all of the varieties and the opportunity to be able to grow all that sort of stuff for your family. That's great. That is so great. Okay. All right. All right. So great conversation there. Thank you, everybody. If you are here and you're joining with us and you haven't jumped into the chat box yet, get in there real quick. Or here, I can't, or is it down there? I'm not sure. Depends on where you're watching, right? But anyways, jump into that comment section there. Again, I want to hear from you. What do you got growing on? How are things going in your garden right now this time of year? Are you able to garden yet? I mean, are you living in a place that's still cold, still under a bunch of freezing temperatures that you haven't really been able to get out yet? But, all of that. Let us know what you got growing on there, definitely. Okay, let's see. All right. And let's see here. Let me switch this up so that we can start talking about what we have got coming up here on the show. Let's get that where we need to be. Oh, where they are. There we go. Anyways, so this next week, which is going to be the 9th and now the 10th of March, is going to be our first weekend of the Let's Get Growing show. We've got a great weekend in store for you for our first show of the year, and or our first 2 shows. I got to get used to that. We got 2 shows. We're going to be spending Saturdays and Sundays together here, or Saturdays if that's all you got, or Sundays if that's what you got. But I love to see you on both days. We're going to have some great conversations with some really, like I said, some of the best. And it's one of the things that I really pride myself on here, and had some really interesting conversations and discussions with some people over this last week and all that too, on the idea that what we do here is really put together a great show with some really great people to talk to. I mean, we've got some of the best guests that you're going to find out there in the gardening community, as far as any podcasts or shows and all of that. And there's some amazing podcasts and amazing shows. We feature some of those people right here on our show, and I love to feature anybody and share time with them here on our show. But again, I really do have to acknowledge the fact that we've done a really great job here on the show, bringing together some really great people, and that is just going to continue right here into 2024 with some really great guests. We've kind of teased and talked about a few of them over the last several weeks here on our our little basically our little casual live streams that we've been doing here throughout the winter or into this new year. And again, I've been side note real quick, but I've been really enjoying this. It's going to be a little different to get back to the actual show format when we do this next week. But again, too, it's been really making me think about maybe expanding out a 3rd live stream. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. We'll see what people think. I mean, if you have any ideas, and if you'd love to be able to join with me on on a Wednesday night or something like that, and more in the evening, do more of like an evening type of thing, maybe something like that. Whereas we're here on the weekend in the earlier hours, well, for me anyways. But maybe we'll do that sort of thing for an additional type of live stream like this. I mean, it's something that I started with years ago when I was first testing out and doing live streams. This is all we did was just talked with each other and all that sort of stuff. And eventually it all expanded into the idea of our talk show. But I've really been enjoying these last few weeks, just hanging out and talking with all of you guys. So I don't know, I'm thinking about that sort of stuff. So again, let me know what you think about that. And if you're watching on the replay or you get a chance, jump into the comment section and let me know. Let me know what you think about that idea. And maybe that's something we'll work towards maybe down the road a little bit. But yeah, this whole time slot and this whole Saturday idea for us here on the Urban Gardener channel was to put together a really informative and interesting discussions and interviews with the garden community's just, biggest and most talented and all of that gardeners out there, authors, podcasters, YouTubers, Instagrammers, just anybody out there who's, sharing their gardening experiences, teaching people how to grow their own food and garden. We love to have great conversations with them. I was very fortunate early on in my YouTube endeavor to meet some really great people right off the bat. People like John Kohler, we've talked about. John was a real catalyst in my growth in becoming a YouTube gardener, someone who shares and does this stuff, and then ultimately doing this show. And to be able to meet people that I admired, people that I watched, people that I followed and learned from. A lot of my gardening skills came from a lot of people I learned from in all of these different places throughout social media. And so it's, again, too, it was really, really fortunate for me to be able to meet a lot of these certain people. And then eventually, as we got to the point of, and it really was COVID. It was COVID. We all learned a lot about Zoom and doing Zoom meetings and doing this sort of, hooking up with each other through our laptops and our phones and these sort of things as that video technology really came to the forefront because of that situation. And it was right around that time that I'm noticing that I'm thinking, I've been really fortunate to meet some of these really great gardeners like John Kohler and discuss gardening and things with Scott Wilson from Gardener Scott channel, that sort of thing. And I was like, what we really need to do is put together an opportunity to create a fun live stream YouTube gardening show. And I think we've got something that's just really unique and really awesome here. And again, really looking forward to what we've got coming up this next week. Okay, so let's dig into it. Let's start talking about what we got going on this next week. Actually, you know what? I want to dig into it, but I see there's some comments. I'm going to just kind of catch up real quick so I'm not leaving anybody behind here. Make sure we're getting everybody in. Okay, let's see. Wickershire saying, the mint is already up. Yeah, mint, I'm telling you, mint, oh boy. Love, love, love mint, but you got to keep an eye out for that stuff. Like you said, it's already up and going. Hopefully you've got some secluded areas for your mint or you're growing them in containers. I'm telling you, I can only do containers anymore. Oh, and he knows what I was going to say, too. We have the flamethrower ready to watch the mint. He knew where I was going to go with that for sure. Excellent, excellent. Oh, we got Janet Cruising Homestead. Hi from Byron, Georgia, Zone AB. Nothing in the ground yet. Chomping at the bit. Ooh, 8B in Georgia. Oh, man. It should be about time for you any moment, right? I hope you got some good plans, some great things ready to go into your garden there. Thank you for joining with us. We got Valerie Coleman. Hello, all here in the Bay Area. Awesome. Just south of me there. Just about to restart my garden after a long, long period of construction in our space. Can't wait to get started. Thank you for doing this channel. Wow, awesome. Thank you, Valerie, for joining with us. Thank you for participating and jumping into our comment section there. And, thanks for saying that. It's really awesome to get that sort of feedback from everybody on our channel and what we're doing here. But awesome to see you here, Valerie. Thank you so much. Oh, he was mentioning because I was talking about a little bit. He says melons and squash will go in mid-April. Okay, definitely. And sorry, guys. Oh, and better mention we got David Gray with us. Awesome, David. He says my garlic is doing well and my rhubarb is coming up in Indiana. Oh, so awesome you have rhubarb. I'm telling you, I think that's something I'm going to try to do now that we've kind of got a little different situation happening in my space. As a lot of people know, I rent my space. I rent the place I have. So for years, I've had a different owner. I've had some really, specific limitations to what I've been able to do here. But with the new owner and this new situation that I have, we've been looking at being able to do some new things and utilize some spaces in a little bit different ways. And I want to get some of these really cool perennial type of things like rhubarb and asparagus and things like that growing and get them started so that we can get them really developed over the next few years, because I love some rhubarb. I mentioned just a little bit ago, I lived and spent a lot of my teenage years, high school years up in Alaska. And it was actually one of the very few points in my life where I got to observe someone doing a garden. And that was my grandmother gardening in Alaska. And she had a very short growing season. She had this really cool little greenhouse that she would grow tomatoes and all sorts of stuff in. But it was right outside the back of this this house, way out rurally too. I mean, just way out there, but right out in the back, she had all of this just awesome, rhubarb growing, and she made the best like rhubarb cobbler, strawberry rhubarb cobbler. I miss so much. That's one of the things I miss about my grandma the most is that strawberry rhubarb cobbler, man. And it would be great to actually grow some myself and be able to see if I can't try to come up with a great recipe or figure that out somehow. And maybe one of my aunts or something like that can help me figure out what it was and what she did to make that the way it was. But I would love to be able to grow some rhubarb. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Excellent. We got it right there. And you're all having I think that's just, one of the things that I love the most about going through the comment section when we've got great people in there like all yourselves just chatting away with each other too. So definitely awesome to see everybody. And again, too, we got to get in. We got to dig into this now. Let's start talking about what we've got coming up here on the Let's Get Growing show for this next week. Monday, which is not Monday. What did I say Monday for? Saturday, the 9th, which is our usual time, the usual time slot right here, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on our YouTube channel. And I'm still, we're testing it out this week. And right now we are live over on Facebook, on our Facebook page as well too. So maybe that's something we'll continue to do as well too. So we'll go live on YouTube. We'll go live on Facebook as well. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's when we'll get things going this next week for our show. And very first guest of next week's show is going to be our friend Nate Murray from Garden Like a Viking. In fact, Nate does some really great live streams for anybody who might be up just a little bit earlier before we get started on ours. Over on his channel, Garden Like a Viking, he does really great live stream that streams Up until about, I would say about 20, 30 minutes before we get started with our show. And so it's going to be a great kind of double live stream for him next week to kind of come and join with us again. We're having Nate with us for our very first guest because Nate was the most watched guest of our last year's season, and he really brought it. He's got a great community, and he really brought it. And we had a great show. One of the issues though with that show though was a little bit of audio technical difficulties. So I know that was kind of one of the one of the issues for replays and that sort of thing. But hopefully we're going to have that all figured out. We're planning a time to make sure that everything's all set and we have a really great conversation with Nate over there. I mean, I really enjoy his channel, what he does. And as I'm getting everything ready before we're getting started here with our live stream, I'm watching his live stream, and it's kind of playing over in the background, and I kind of keep a track with what he's talking about and all of that on his show too. So it's gonna be really great to have Nate Murray back with us again, Garden Like a Viking, and gonna make a really awesome first guest for us. Now, we're going to, so when we started the show last year, last spring, we had a full show. We had the kind of the full idea that we were working with as we were developing the show. We had some, issues with production and things like that when it came to the end of our spring season. So it kind of then became more of a one-man show. So at that point, I had to kind of pull things back just a little bit in order to kind of really gear up and get a lot of this stuff figured out, how I could work and develop that stuff just on my own. And so we've done all that work. We've and I think I'm ready to really get things back to where we were. Now, when we launched the shows, we had a segment called Are You Following Me?, which we were really intending to be kind of just more of a feature. We were going to just, throw out some photos and some links and talk a little bit about what they have going on for Instagram gardeners. That's kind of what the idea was, is Are You Following Me on Instagram kind of thing. And ultimately what we've decided to do is, well, what ended up happening is that we were running that segment as a full live segment. When I first reached out to the first few guests that I wanted to, or the first few people I wanted to feature for that segment, they, responded just like, hey, what time's the show? What do I need to be there? How do I hook up? Right. So it got lost in translation that the show was just more of a feature and we were going to do that sort of thing. So, and when I got a couple of people right off the bat responding like that, we talked about like, hey, you know what, let's do that. We are intending to be a talk show. So let's just expand it to a nice little short segment and talk with, an Instagram gardener as well. And it really went well. We had some really great guests in that first 10 shows. Folks like we had Joey and Holly from a Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, the radio show, and Sisters in the Garden, Oxheart Gardening, I'm mixing up my segments now. But we had really a lot of really great guests on there, and then the next segment was the channel of the week that we were doing, and this was going to be a smaller YouTube gardening channel that we were going to feature. And again, had a lot of great gardeners on for that segment as well. And ultimately, it just became a little too long, and that's kind of what we were looking at. And I wanted to be able to feature each of these sort of things. And it was it was suggested to me, hey, what if you just combine those together and make it just one segment, and you make it, 1 week you got a small YouTube gardener, another week maybe you've got an Instagrammer, maybe you've got a TikToker, podcaster, whatever, that sort of thing. And that's kind of what we've decided to do this year. So we're going to combine channel of the week and Are You Following Me into the Are You Following Me segment. And that's what that's going to be our first initial segment of our shows. A nice little short little 15-minute or so conversation with with lots of different people. I've got, man, so many great people that we're reaching out to bring for that segment. But we are going to start off our year, though, too, in the very first show and bringing back with us our good friend and sponsor, Charles Malky of Ivy Organic. So for our first show, we're going to bring him here. And again, too, it's going to be kind of our first show launch. So I thought it'd be a great idea to bring Charles on, give him a chance to, talk with everybody and for everybody to get to meet him and all of that. So you can meet and see who exactly is the person behind the sponsorship of our show. So I think that's going to be a really great idea. I always like talking to Charles. Charles is just a really great human being. One of those people I was fortunate enough to meet early on in my YouTube career. Let's go right. So early on in my YouTube career, I got to meet Charles, and Charles was just one of those people who just, I was just a small little YouTube gardener with maybe just 100 or 2 subscribers. And I went to visit him and do some interviews. And each time I visited him, he treated me like I was a channel with 1 million subscribers. And that, really reflects a lot on his character and who he is. I've gotten to meet his family, his daughters, and that sort of thing. And it's a family business. And that's one of the things I really like about it too. It's a full family business. Everybody's involved. The IV stands, those are in the initials of his children's names. You know what I mean? And so I just think it's a really, really great fit for sponsorship and affiliation with our program and what we do. And he's got a very unique product. The 3-in-1 plant guard that they have is just not something you're going to find anywhere else other than Ivy Organic. And it is one of those things that, just a really great organic protective product for your fruiting trees and plants. It's a spray. It's, again, all natural, but it's definitely something that you should have in your garden shed. Definitely. Every gardener should have Ivy Organics 3-in-1 plant guard in their garden shed. And I truly believe that. So that's another reason why we really like having Charles on as our sponsor. So again, great opportunity to come and join with us next week and get to meet Charles, ask him some questions and that sort of thing as well too. So that's going to be a really great start to our show on Saturday. We're going to introduce a couple of new little, what we would call little sub segments, what I'm calling, I guess we call them little bumper segments and things. We're going to have joining with us, I think mostly video is in doing that sort of thing for these little things. We're going to do a little garden trivia thing, and that's going to be sponsored by and put together by Sarah Hood over at Sarah's Seed Shop. And we've been talking about Sarah's Seed Shop since she got that started here this last year. And just a really wonderful young woman, entrepreneur, working hard to, build something in the gardening world with a really great little seed shop. And her seed shop is a continuation of the Little Shop of Seeds. And the Little Shop of Seeds was something that was put together by Ray Browning. Ray Browning had one of the original gardening YouTube channels on YouTube. He has since retired, but it was a channel called Praxis 55712. And he eventually started his own little seed shop. He did a free seed giveaway and did a lot of that sort of stuff for years, and then ultimately decided to start his own little seed shop. And then after a few years, decided that it was time for retirement, and he retired it, and basically handed over the business and all of his seeds and different things to Sarah, so that she could start Sarah's Seed Shop. And it's just really, something that I'm really proud and glad to be able to do and support someone like Sarah and the SarahSeedShop.com. Her mother, Nancy, has been a big supporter of our channel since the very beginning. And it just only makes complete and total sense to have her on our show and support her seed shop. And definitely, if you haven't had a chance yet, go check her Sarah's Seed Shop out. If you're still looking for some of those essential seeds in your garden, she sells these things for only 75 cents a packet. I'm telling you, 75 cents a packet, and you're going to get 3 or more times the amount of seeds than what you're going to get in a regular seed packet offered by any of the other seed sellers out there. I'll tell you, there isn't a better deal on seeds if you're buying a bunch of really great essential seeds for your garden. So definitely go to sarahseedshop.com and check that out, and look forward to Sarah's garden trivia coming up here on the show. So that'll be fun. We'll kind of have that out there as kind of a fun little trivia question we'll have for everybody to participate with in the chat and all of that. And just bring another little fun element to the channel. We're going to also introduce another little bumper segment that we're going to do called Garden Glossary. We're going to kind of highlight some of those interesting and fun little garden terms and words that that we come across in the gardening world, and kind of wonder like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that's all about. So we're going to highlight some really cool, fun gardening terminology throughout our gardening season in our garden little glossary segment that we're going to do. So that's going to be some little fun additions and some things that we're going to do, to kind of bring our show back to what the original idea was. It was really, again, too, really fun to be able to have the featured guest on and just do more of that kind of podcast style interview on the show when we move towards, after the 10th show and towards the end of last season. That's basically what we did, just the main featured guest, and just had a nice little long conversation with them. But I'm really looking forward to being able to come back to the original idea. And so that's going to be really, really fun. Okay, before we move on here again, let me jump back in here and see what we got going on here. Okay. Wickershire Project says, I was watching Nate today. Yeah, awesome. So you probably heard him mention that he's going to be on our show next week. And really awesome. Again, too, Nate's just a really great guy, and I'm really looking forward to talking with him again, too. Really knowledgeable. Guy's traveled the world. He knows some really, a lot of his stuff's based on like JDOM gardening methods and stuff that I'd need to do a little more studying on and that sort of stuff. But, he's a real, straight to it guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't beat around any bushes. He gives you the info straight up, and I like that about him. Okay, let's see here. Okay, everybody's talking about stuff there. All right. Okay. Okay, so that's going to take us to what is new with our show this year. And I'll just kind of real quick. So we kind of ran into something as that, I don't know if I was really anticipating or really thinking about when it came down to it. We were, we're getting into the end of last year's Let's Get Growing season, and started really realizing as I was thinking about what we were going to do next year and guests and all of that. I mean, I've got lists of people and possible future guests and all that sort of stuff that I work through and think about. And as we were, really getting, really successfully getting a lot of the people I wanted to get. I mean, my initial list, I mean, there was maybe only really, in fact, now I think about only really one person. There's only really one person who was on my original list for this last year that we didn't get on the show, and I didn't get to get on the show. Everybody else that I listed out, and I thought all of them joined our show. It was and to me, I wasn't anticipating that. I thought maybe we'd get some of them and we'd have to move on to more of our list and all of that. But the participation with the people that we were inviting onto the show was just really extraordinary. And again too, just really when it came down to it, put me in a position when it came to what are we going to do to plan for next year? Because we've got this one show, and I've got this one featured segment, and again too, we're doing the shorter segment at the front of the show in order to kind of fulfill a lot of that guest list that I have. But I was like, we've got all these people, and I want to talk to a lot of them again. Like Nate Murray, I want to bring him back on the show. I want to talk to him again. I want to talk to Farmer Greg Peterson. We brought him back again, actually, towards the end of last year. I want to talk to, all of these really great people I got to talk to. Ashley Thomas, the Mocha Gardener, all sorts of really great people. Scott Head from Black Gumbo Southern Gardening, just all these really great people. Every single one of them, we had great conversations, and I was like, I want to have them back on. But how do we bring them back on, but also show people the newer people on my list? There's tons of awesome gardeners out there who I'd love to have on the show. So really it put me in a position of like, well, you know what, we're gonna have to, possibly just expand this out. And so, I really kind of thought about the idea, and I was like, you know what, it'd probably be something just to really take this to, the next level and make it a weekend gardening show. And that was kind of the idea, was to open up a Sunday edition of our show. And that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to do the Let's Get Growing Gardening Livecast Sunday edition. And the Sunday edition is going to be a little bit different than what our actual show is on Saturdays. And it's going to be a little bit different from week to week, too. We're going to do a little bit of different things. But what it does is really gives me an opportunity to find other ways to be able to bring back some of these guests that we've had on our show before. And so we're going to have the Sunday edition, and the first Sunday edition, and this is going to be a little confusing at first, but it'll hopefully get better as we get into stride with all of it, because we had to do one little switch up. But for our first week, next week, our Sunday edition is going to be a book club. So we're going to introduce the Let's Get Growing Urban Gardener Book Club. And so this is going to be one book each month that we're going to feature. And then as we get going, it'll people be able to really get going along with us here too, because we're all, really, some of this stuff has just become some of these last minute changes we've done in the last few weeks in order to kind of set this part of what it is up. And so this is gonna be the monthly book club, and this is going to be something that we're going to have a co-host for. So once a month, our good friend Mark Roche Colbert, who's who anybody who watches my channel knows he's a really good friend of mine. Another one of those people I was really fortunate to meet early on in my YouTube gardening career, who has become a really, really great friend. And he started out the show with us in those first 10 doing the In the Garden segment. And it was really fun, really enjoyable, but he had to step back because of family issues and some medical issues and things like that was totally and completely understandable. And I have been working to get him back on the show. I've been spending this whole last winter talking and discussing and doing little things and thinking about how we could work it out to bring him back on the show. So on the Sunday edition, we are going to be bringing back the in the garden segment. It's going to be Sundays in the garden, and we're going to have, again, some video that Mark's going to contribute with us. Sometimes it'll be me who's in the garden on Sunday. And also, Mark has this really great gardening course, things they didn't teach you in gardening school. And what we're going to do is we're going to play little clips and little videos from that course that he has. So we'll have a little bit of that. We'll have a little bit of him, a little bit of me, and then once a month on the third Sunday of the month. It's going to be what is the second Sunday of this month, but starting next month and down later throughout the rest of the year, it'll be the third Sunday of the month will be our monthly book club. Mark will join us live for the In the Garden segment and then stay on with us as a co-host to interview our author of our book club book that we choose for that month. So that's going to be really fun. And so this next Sunday, we'll have Mark with us. He's going to be with us live. He'll be with us live again also, too. We're going to do 2 little lives with him, starting off with the show, which will be the following week after that. So that'll be what will be the third Sunday of the month, where what we'll have for this third Sunday, because we'll switch it up, because it's going to be book club on the third Sunday, and then on the second Sunday is going to be a regular returning guest that we're going to have each and every month. And I'm really, really excited about this, because this is where you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck out of what we offer around here and learn some really great things about gardening. We're going to have one of the great master gardeners, the quintessential gardener of YouTube, as I call him. We're going to have with us on our Sunday edition on the second Sundays of the month. We're going to have your garden questions answered with Gardener Scott. Scott Wilson's going to join with us each and every month for a really fun conversation and discussion. And we're going to center around a topic, but what we'll be doing is really giving everybody an opportunity to ask their questions and discuss gardening and really get some great, great gardening insight from Gardener Scott. I mean, he's the person I turn to if there's really anything I need to know or I need to learn about when it comes to the garden, or if I've got some situations I'm dealing with. I always turn to Gardener Scott. Check out his videos. He talks about almost anything and everything you can be dealing with in your garden, and he's just, again, a plethora of knowledge, and we are really excited and really fortunate to be able to get him to come back each and every month with us on the second Sunday of the month. But again, for this first month of March, it will be the third Sunday. So he'll be joining with us what'll be Sunday the 17th. And that's when we'll have that first Your Garden Questions Answered with Gardener Scott. Okay? So that kind of discusses, kind of what we're going to be doing, because that will switch going into next month. And then from that point on, we're talking second Sunday of the month with Gardener Scott. Third Sunday of the month is going to be our book club. And also, too, we're going to be featuring for our book this what will be next week for this first one. And it's not going to, again, too, this is just kind of happening, so we're really kind of jumping into it. But we're going to be featuring with us our good friend Tony O'Neill from Simplify Gardening. He just released his Simplify Vegetable Gardening book this last week. And so we thought it'd be great. Just released it, just happened this last week. So we're going to get him right on this next Sunday. This next Sunday, he's going to be joining with us here. And I just got my copy, actually. I just got this one actually yesterday. Really awesome. There's a lot of great things in here. I'm going to be digging into this really hard over the week. And then we're going to have Tony joining with us live on the show to talk all about his new book, Simplify Vegetable Gardening. And from what I can already tell, because I've been flipping through already, and he talks about this as one of the things, this is just a lot of really great gardening science in here. There's just so much really good stuff. He really breaks it down, really, really easily read, and that, simplify gardening. And he's done a really great job at this. In fact, I was just checking out his Facebook just a little bit earlier before the show, and this book has gone #1 in home and garden for the UK, and #1 and bestseller here in the United States as well too. So he's got himself a really hot book right now, and we are really lucky to be able to have him on this next Sunday to talk all about it and ask him some questions and discuss this really great book here with Tony. So that's going to be really fun. And as we're moving forward, what I'm hoping to do is, hopefully by next week, be able to announce next month's book. So we'll know a month ahead of time what next month's book will be, and really give everybody an opportunity to go out and get those books, read your books, do all that sort of thing, and then join with us on that third Sunday in order to ask all of the questions and get to meet the author yourself, and discuss all the sort of things that they're highlighting in their books. And they're not always going to be vegetable or gardening books as far as like actual how to garden books. Sometimes there'll be books like one of my favorite books this last year, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to line her up again to come back and maybe discuss it just a little bit more. And that'll be Christy Wilhelmi's Garden Variety. I loved that book this last year. It was just a really great fictional garden story centered around a community garden down in Los Angeles, and all of the different personalities in a community garden, different drama and things that you could find in a community garden, all that sort of stuff. And it was just a really, really fun read. So we'll have books like that, and we'll have other types of, books, topical subjects and things like that. So all sorts of books will be featuring on our show. And again, too, there's a book or any sort of person that you think would really fit for our show and you'd love to see an interview for, or be a part of our book club or any of that other stuff, definitely jump into the comment sections and let me know what you got on your mind, because I love suggestions. I love to bring the people here that you guys would really like to see. So again, going to be really awesome this next week with Tony from Simplify Gardening joining with us. So that kind of covers what we're going to be doing on the second and third Sunday. The first one's going to be switched, and then we're going to switch up, and that's what it'll be. Second Sunday, Gardener Scott, your garden questions answered each and every month. And then the third Sunday each and every month, we're going to have joining with us our good friend Mark Boucher Colbert, and doing our monthly book club. And really, really interesting. And I thought was really kind of funny as I was doing things. And I just monthly book club is MBC, and our good friend Mark Boucher Colbert's initials are MBC as well too. So perfect fit. And it's going to be really awesome to have him here as well too, and have a little bit of a co-host situation going on. Something we haven't done here on the show, and it'll be really fun. And that really kind of brings us to one of the original ideas that I had for the Sunday edition. Okay. The Sunday edition idea I originally had was, well, if I've had all these really great guests on the show, over the last year, and how do I bring them back? Well, let's pair some guests up together with each other that we've had on before, and let's bring them on the Sunday show for what would be a fun gardening roundtable discussion. Again, based on whatever subjects and things that are going on in the garden, at that time of year, or different issues and things and topics of garden topics, and we'll just dive into those different things. We'll also discuss different things with everybody here live, but what we'll be able to do is have a really fun little maybe 3 or 4 different people all at once, a little roundtable discussion, and we'll be able to throw ideas off each other and see what one does when it comes to when it comes to an issue. Say we're talking about pests, right? What does this guy do to handle these, and then what do you do over here to handle those same things? And we'll get different perspectives and really be able to really dig deep into some of these topics and everything with our different guests that we'll have. So coming up, which will be oh my gosh, now I'm losing my dates. It'll be The 24th. That's what it is. It'll be the 24th. So the 24th will be our first gardening roundtable. And again, too, that's we got the second and third Sunday of the month. So we're talking first Sunday of the month, we're talking the fourth and possibly fifth Sunday of the month. Just depends on the month. Sometimes we get 4 month Sundays, sometimes we get 5 Sundays. But the first, fourth, and fifth will be our gardening roundtables, where we'll bring in guests that we've had before. And we're going to start it off this very first month with really good friends of mine who've been on my channel many, many times. Actually, this will be lining up to go along with what will be like our third or fourth annual first day of spring discussion. So each spring, I like to bring my good friends Kang Star from the Pepper Lovers community and the Kang Star channel on YouTube, and Christopher Bransdahl, my good friend from up in Norway, in his channel on YouTube. He's a really great gardener, does a lot of really awesome like hydroponic indoor gardening stuff, as you see in that picture there with him in that big plant. I think that's his coffee plant. I believe that's what that is there. But yeah, it's gonna be really great. So we'll have Kang Star and Christopher Bransdahl joining us for our very first gardening roundtable. So that's gonna kind of round up what we're gonna be doing with our Sunday edition. So we'll be able to have lots of really fun conversations and talk about all sorts of different things with all of these great gardeners and great people. And I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss any of these shows. You're really not going to miss them. So definitely be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And really, I mean, in order to not miss any of our shows, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified of all of our shows as they're coming up. And be able to come join with us, because that's really what makes all of this. We've got really great guests, which really stands us out among other people. But the thing I really love about live streaming and doing the things that we're doing here is it gives everybody, all of you, the opportunity to be able to ask questions and be a part of the discussion and conversation that we have with all of these really awesome gardeners, And again, too, it's just gonna be a fun year. Really, really looking forward to it. Okay, let's see here. All right. LP joining with us here. Hello, everyone in the eds. Then I'll be in the bushes. All right, awesome. Great to have you, LP. Thanks for joining back with us again. Let's see here. LP says, "Oh, that's great. Love Gardner Scott. Yeah, Gardner Scott's my man. I just really, really dig what he does, and really the information is just gold. You're not going to get any better advice than you're going to get from Gardner Scott. He just knows what he's doing." Wickershire Project says, "That's the book. I need that book." Yes, definitely. In fact, let's see. I think Jay put a link there for us. So if you need that book, check out the comment section there. Jay, I think, threw a link for us there too. #1 bestseller. Thank you. Oh, I think that was his. Yeah. But we'll find a link for you to get you one of those books. Definitely go out and get that. It's a great, I'm telling you, I've only really been able to flip through and look at just a little bit of it so far, and I'm completely impressed with the way he breaks it down and really simply makes it nice and easy for you to understand. So definitely check that book out. If you get your book this week, or if you got it coming, definitely come and join with us next week so you can ask some questions of Tony himself. Okay. All right. And yeah, so that's going to be kind of what we're doing with Sundays now. Sunday's going to be more of a variety show in a sense. We're going to have a bunch of different variety, and then we're going to stick with our usual format for our Saturdays. We're going to have some really great, awesome guests as we move forward into the season. We'll have and I've teased out already that I talked about one of my favorite people on YouTube that I followed and watched years, and for many years, but years and years ago when he first started his channel, or it was in that first year of his channel, I started watching Mark Valencia over in Australia with his channel Self Sufficient Me, and really just a great personality, has a great channel. In fact, as far as I could tell, and as I was keeping an eye on things, I do truly believe that Mark was the first YouTube gardening millionaire. And I mean millionaire is in he first YouTube channel to reach 1 million subscribers. And so he's well over 2, heading to 3 million subscribers on his channel, and will be the biggest guest we've had on this show. And I'm looking forward to that. He'll be joining with us more towards summertime for us here in the US, and be winter for him over there in Australia. So it'd be great. And here's the great thing about it. Now, last year we did have some Australian guests on our show. We had Charlie McGee. He's a front man of a band called oh 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 my gosh, I'm having a whatever. Anyways, he's got a really great fun band that does all these really cool fun gardening songs and things, and some good children's songs. They put out children's albums, they put out some other types of music and all that sort of stuff. Formidable Vegetable. I knew it would come. I just had to not think about it too hard. But the band was called Formidable Vegetable. We had him on. We had Marty's Garden too as well, joining us from Australia. But those shows, because of where they're at, and the timing and that sort of thing, we had to pre-record those shows. So we had them pre-recorded, so that it doesn't really. And I try to minimize pre-recorded shows. They will happen. If there's a guest I really want to have on, like Charlie, I really really wanted to have him on, and so and because of it being in Australia, it's like, okay, we'll do a pre-recorded one. We had a pre-recording with Jared Gettle of Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company this last year, and because Jared just doesn't do Saturdays, so we had to do a pre-recorded, and I really wanted to have him on there. And those are all right, because again too, what that does gives me the opportunity to push play on that interview and then hang out with all of you in the comment section, and we get to talk and discuss things and talk a little bit more about the things we're talking about in the interview and all of that. So there's a little added kind of a bonus, I guess, to having a pre-recorded interview, and that's the fact that I get to really do sort of like what we get to hang out and talk with each other, more so me being in the comment section during that time. But the great thing about having Mark on is he's agreed to be on with us live. And that means he's got to get himself up at like 4 or 5 in the morning in order to come and join with us. But he's going to join with us live. And this is, I think, going to be one of the great opportunities for gardeners out there too. So we're going to be really pushing this show when it gets close to it, and we've got the date completely nailed down. And hopefully things don't get too wild in the comment section for our man Jay, because I'm hoping that we're going to have a really, really lively discussion that day in our chat box, and a great live discussion with Mark right on our show. So really looking forward to that. I will mention there will be a pre-recording that we're going. In fact, I'm going to be recording this here in just a couple of days. In fact, it's actually going to be the first interview that I do for this new season, but we're not going to air it until possibly, I think, the 3rd week is what we're looking at there. But another YouTube gardening millionaire we're going to have joining with us, gardening with James Prigioni. So we're going to have James Prigioni with us as our featured guest, and he's going to do a pre-recorded interview. Again, lining up time. Really enjoy James and his channel and all of that, and so really want to have him on the show. So we're going to do a pre-recorded interview, and then again too, I'll be in the comment section with all of you while we get to enjoy that interview that we're going to do there. So I'm really excited about having that conversation with James. So our guest list, as you can already tell, it's getting bigger and better and more, and just more and more awesome each and every day. And really, to tell you the truth, I come on here and I'm smiling and happy and talking about all of this sort of stuff. And the thing about this that I've been talking with people about, and really kind of, people ask me about, the show and how we're getting all these really great guests and all of that. And I says, one of the things about that is it takes a lot of work. Why you don't see a show like this, why and what makes us unique, and the opportunity we have to talk with all of these really amazing guests that we're having on the show is that doing all of that work that it takes. Some guests it takes many emails over many weeks in order to get lined up, to get certain times, get certain things taken care of. Some, takes a little more work. Sometimes, it's timing isn't quite right for them at that point in time, but I got to get back to them later, and we got to do things and all that sort of stuff. So it really is and can be a little bit stressful, especially when you're running up to, the last few weeks before you're getting ready to get all this stuff launched, and certain things are popping up. Kind of like what we were talking about with the book club, or gardening with Gardner Scott. The second Sunday, as we were planning with Gardner Scott, didn't work for the first month because of a timing thing. So we had to work and adjust that and make that happen and all that sort of stuff, and then make that adjustment to the third week versus the second week, and then doing the book club, which was supposed to be on the third week, moving it to the second week, and doing these sort of things, and then lining that up and making sure that everything works and out for everybody involved and all of that, in order to have this really kind of variety gardening talk show, that's really just a great opportunity for everybody and all of you viewers out there to be able to come along with us and and join in these great conversations that we have. So, putting in the work, dealing and doing with a little bit of the stress is what I do behind the scenes in order to make all this stuff happen. And it's so much worth it in the long run. And especially at this point in time when we're looking at getting everything launched, we've got a lot of things lined up so far, a lot of great people that we'll be talking about a little bit more as we get moving on into these next weeks. And, we'll have some really fun discussions. I've also put in a couple, I put in and requested an interview with someone who might be just a little bit more of a controversial subject, as I've found out a little bit, over this last week. If everybody tuned into the show this last week or has seen on my YouTube channel, we did some discussions. We got into my thoughts and my opinions on this new GMO purple tomato, So we're going to have as a guest coming up, it'll be in April, we will have with us Kathy Martin. Kathy Martin is the, scientist that developed this purple tomato for the Norfolk laboratories over in the UK, and again too, I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity to dig into a little bit about how that works, how how it was developed, what's going on, what's the future of this sort of stuff, all that sort of stuff. I think there's a lot of pertinent and informative questions and discussion to have with Kathy about this new tomato. So I'm really excited about being able to talk with that about her too. And again too, it's a controversial thing, as if most anybody knows. I just mentioned GMOs, and I'm sure you've all got thoughts. And so let's bring those thoughts together. Let's get a little inquisitive, and let's dig into the science of what and how all of this works with the actual person who developed this tomato. I mean, what a great opportunity for us to be able to do that and have that discussion. So we'll be looking forward to that as well as we move on. So. I just can't stress it enough. You guys got to make sure you're tuning in each and every Saturday and Sunday now to Let's Get Growing show here. Each and every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's see here. Make sure we're catching up with everybody. we got with us. Good friend Christopher Reeves. Haven't seen. How you been doing, buddy? Good friend of mine from way back. This is way back before I even got that first cucumber I share about all the time here. You know, Christopher is a great friend from many years ago. So good to see you jumping in and checking out what I got growing on over here. Thanks for joining me. Excellent, excellent. Wickershire Project. He was suggesting, I don't know if this was before I actually mentioned that too, though, but he's suggesting David the Good and James Prigioni. And obviously, I just mentioned we're going to have James Prigioni, so that's going to be really great. David, I have reached out to. We'll hopefully line something up with him later on in the season. He's someone that, again, too, isn't, you know, scheduling isn't working out earlier on, but I have reached out to David. He's someone I've followed for many years as well too, and love to get his perspective on a bunch of things and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully that's one we'll be able to really lock into as we move on later in the season too. LPC says, LP says, wow, all stars line up. Yes, yes, indeed. And okay, too. Yes. Jay also mentions, too, I tried to help Mark, Self Sufficient Me, in his first attempts at live streams. And it was the Wild West with way, way too many people. And we've talked about this too, actually over these last few weeks and that sort of stuff too, is about wanting to get the word out about our show, to start getting more of an audience. That is our goal. Our goal was to get the guests to be consistent last year, to do that sort of thing. And we were completely successful with that. Our main goal this year is to grow the audience. So we're going to be doing everything. I'm going to be pushing you all hard to really get out there and share and help us get people to know what we've got growing on here, and let people know that we've got this really awesome, unique gardening talk show that you can participate anywhere. We're not a regional show. This show is a worldwide show available, on YouTube, Facebook, all over the place, and anybody from anywhere can come in and jump in and join in the conversation with us too, with all of these really amazing people. And I do remember those first live streams that Mark did. And again, as we talked about, I was like, you know what? I would love to have a nice big channel. Wouldn't it be awesome to be a YouTube millionaire, right? Wouldn't that be great to have 1 million subscribers? And then I really think about it. Oh boy, there's some things that come along with that, and one of them is the connection you have with your audience. A lot of you guys show up here each and every week, and you've been on and joined with me on live streams, and we've kind of got to know each other. I get to read your comments, and we get to discuss things and that sort of stuff. And as what Jay is mentioning here too in his comment is, when you got a channel that size and you try to attempt to do a live stream, you can't connect with anybody, and in some ways it would be great. Like I said, nobody's going to say, hey, no, I don't want to be a YouTube millionaire. No, I don't want to have this great success with my channel. I absolutely do. It would be great. We'll figure things out if that ever happened, but it's a dream, right? Ultimately, again, it's just, those live streams, oh my gosh. I just remember looking at Mark's face actually as he was actually realizing what was actually happening while he was attempting to do those. Because it was just, you can't even read comments. They're coming in so fast. He's got thousands and thousands of people attending and watching that show. And how awesome would that be for us as far as, the idea of this being a business, and that we would be able to attract bigger and make a little bit more money on advertising and sponsorships and affiliations and all that sort of stuff would be so great for me. I love to earn an extra buck. All of this stuff really, I come in the red every single year when it comes to my projects, whether it's here on YouTube or anything like that. And I believe that's right. I believe it's in the red when you're negative, right? I hope I got that right. But anyways, this stuff costs me ultimately in the long run. When it comes down to it, I do this because this is fun. This is something I enjoy. This is something I'm passionate about, and this is something that is just really, really just a great opportunity for me. And I'm just, again, really fortunate to be able to do and have some of the discussions that I get to have. So, really, really, really great. But again, too, it's what are you really asking for when you want to do something like this, or you want to have a successful show? And ultimately, again, too, it'll be interesting to see what happens when Mark joins our show. And hopefully, he'll be doing some sharing and letting people know that he's going to be on live. And because it's not going to be live on his channel, we're definitely not going to have to deal with that level of inundation. But I imagine that there's going to be plenty of people, if he announces it on his channel, that are actually going to jump over here and try it. So again, I feel for you, Jay. I need you, man. But I hope it works out. And if you have to bail, bail, I guess, right? We'll just do what we have to. We'll do what we can with what happens, and we'll see. We'll just see how that goes. Right on, right on. Wickershire Project says Edic has some superstars. Yes, and that's what I'm telling you. That's what's so fun and awesome about this show here. What we got growing on is that we've got the superstars of the gardening community right here on our channel, and we're going to have more and more of them as we move along. Let's see here, Jay with all the good links again too. Janet Cruising says that sounds fun that day. Right, yep. Well, let's see here. Wickershire says, okay, I'm sure I'll ask about it. My hands are shaking. Tomato X. I'm not sure what we mean exactly by that, but it's the purple tomato is what they've named it. Pepper X is the world record holder. That's what they named that pepper that they developed, the Pepper X. And let's see here. Wait a minute. Wickershire is giving advice to Jay. Set the live stream to subscriber 5 minutes and chat delay 1 minute. That's I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to have to do. We'll have to really think about that, when it comes down to it. But we'll see. Oh, and he was mentioning, because I was saying that sort of thing is every business equals investment first, and that's kind of what I was talking about there. Yes, the investment was consistency and getting consistent, great, awesome guests on our show, as I was looking to do, and we succeeded at all of that, and then all of the other things, like I was saying, when I put all of that, I get my money. I don't know what you'd say. It doesn't cost that much ultimately. It costs me more time than anything ultimately. But yeah. And Janet was jumping in there. Red is loss, black is profit. All right, so then I had that right. So yeah, we're in the red most every year around here. I mean, I get a little bit, I get a little bit from YouTube. It's definitely not as much as what as Wickershire was saying, invest into each of the projects and the things, whether it's money and time and all that sort of stuff. So I'm in the red and all of that sort of stuff. But again, too, it's I don't mind. It's not gonna, and as I've mentioned too before, when we've talked about success, versus where we're at, is that I'd love to see a really good growth, for our channel and stuff. But I like to be able to keep it, in this sort of community sense that what we have here on the show, and being able to connect with all of the individuals that, show up each and every week and contribute through the comments and questions and all of that sort of thing. So it's to me, it's just something I really enjoy. I'm going to keep doing, whether it's in the red or what, when it comes down to it. And Jay says, I guess I will start prepping for the self-sufficient me show. Jay cracks knuckles. Yes, exactly, right? And again, too, I really look forward to it. And here's the thing to think about, when it comes down to it, is that, we have a lot of all these really awesome guests. And the thing that, that, I mean, it's just obvious and out there is that we have these awesome guests on our show, hoping that people who follow them, people who enjoy and watch their content and all of that, will come over and check them out on our show, get to participate in the interview, get to see what we're all about here, and then hopefully we'll get some of them to stick around and come and join with us in future weeks and that sort of thing. And that's what we're looking for with all of that. So, I'm hoping that it's going to be a crazy, wild, comment section. And hopefully out of that, we get, a good chunk of people to come and join with us. It's definitely not going to be all of the people who show up to check it out, but hopefully we get a good little percentage of that and all of that. So that's what we're looking to do when it comes to that. So it might be a little wild west in the comment section for that show, but it'll be definitely worth it when we build our community out of it. Okay. Well, there we are. We've talked a lot about all of that, discussed everything that we've got growing on here for this next coming week. And we're getting down to the winding down our show. So if you have any last minute questions or any comments or anything like that you'd like to jump in and say here before we get moving on for the day. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do. It's all snowing out there, so I'm going to have to finish some indoor projects, I think, when we get done with this. So, definitely. Really looking forward to seeing all of you coming up this next week. And just kind of a little quick reminder and rundown of what we're going to do here. Next week, we have with us Nate Meary, Garden Like a Viking. Join with us Saturday as our featured guest for our featured conversation. And again, the show's going back to our somewhat original format. We will be bringing back our Are You Following Me segment. And join with us will be our good friend and sponsor and affiliate, Charles Malky from IV Organic. And then our new Sunday edition will be back on Sunday the 10th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Sunday edition. And this first Sunday of the Sunday edition is going to be our monthly book club. We're going to introduce the monthly book club. And our first guest for the monthly book club is author and YouTuber Tony O'Neill from Simplify Gardening with his new book, Simplify Vegetable Gardening, #1 in the UK and the US. And we're going to have him with us this next week for that monthly book club. And then we'll look forward to the next week after that for Your Garden Questions Answered with Gardener Scott, joining with us on that week. And then in weeks forward, we will be doing Gardener Scott on the second Sunday of the month, book club on the third Sunday of the month. And then we'll finish out the month of March with our good friends King Starr and Christopher Bransdahl joining us for our Garden Roundtable on our Sunday edition, which we will do on week 1 and week 4 and possibly 5, depending on the month. And we'll start it all off again, too, with our good friends Kang and Chris from Norway, or Kang from Texas and Christopher from Norway join with us to have a great, basically, this is going to be right around or just after the first day of spring. So it's going to be kind of our first day of spring celebration weekend on the Let's Get Growing show. So it's going to be great to have them back as we do a conversation with them over the last few years on spring in order to welcome spring in and start the growing season. So I thought it would be a great idea to have them back again to do that. And then we're going to keep moving on right from there. We got great guests each and every week that you can look forward to. And yeah, just excited. Can you tell I'm super excited? Definitely super excited about all of this for sure. And oh, awesome, dude. Rob, thank you very much. Rob's allotment says, all I want to say is thank you very much for another great live show. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all of you, really hanging in and join with me over these last several weeks. We've had some really great, fun conversations and discussions, and hopefully, again, as I was mentioning earlier on, we might figure out something for us to be able to have more of these types of live streams too, because it's been really fun. But again, like I said, really looking forward to the next Let's Get Growing show starting next week, March 9th, and now March 10th on Sunday. Yes, yes. And okay, well, I think that's going to about do it for us this week here, everybody. If you are here, with us at the end of the show right now, and you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button, hit the like button, and jump into the comments section. All of these sort of interactions with our videos and content, whether you're, on YouTube or what we've been doing today, we've been streaming out on Facebook. Interact. Always hit those like buttons. Always jump into the comments section, even if you're just saying hi. Just say hello. If that's it, just jump in that comment section. Any of those interactions really, really helps our channel, really, really helps our show. So definitely do that. Go check out some of our videos. We've been putting out some videos. I'll have new videos coming out this next week as we're catching up with some of our worm farming. We got some vermicompost and things like that we're worms we're growing right here over this winter as we're moving towards a worm casting season for our garden. We'll be talking a little bit more about that in upcoming and future videos as well too. So definitely be sure to subscribe. Be sure to hit that bell notification so you'll be notified of all of those videos and new shows as they're coming up and on our show page. Definitely do that. Also, mentioning here too, we didn't mention really, ivorganics.com, as I mentioned, is our sponsor. We'll have Charles with us next week. And he's an affiliate and a sponsor of our show. Go check out that 3-in-1 plant guard, as I mentioned earlier. This is literally something you have to have in your garden shed. This is, it's a must-have as far as I'm concerned. So definitely go and get yourself some of that 3-in-1 plant guard over at ivorganics.com. Use our promo code GROW10, GROW10, and you can save 10% on that and help us out as well. Like I said, they're an affiliate. We get just a little chunk of that when you do that. So make sure you go check that out as well too. And one last reminder for everybody to come and join with us on Facebook at our Facebook group, the Urban Gardener Community, at the Let's Get Growing group. And it's just a really awesome opportunity for all of you to be able to share all those gardens, share pictures of all that sort of stuff that you're talking about, like Wickershire, you're talking about all the melons. I want to see them melons on our Facebook group, so come join our group. Show us all those things as you're growing along throughout the year. If you got any questions, you got anything you want to contribute to the group, you want to answer some questions, all that stuff, photos, videos, all of that. This is just a really great place. We've got some really awesome gardeners contributing there, and it's also just a really great place for you to, like I said, share that stuff so I can see it. I'm sharing all of my garden stuff. We're going to make more videos. We're going to have more content when it comes right out of our garden this year too. So you get to see all of that right here that I share with. So when you go to our Facebook group and you share over there, that gives me the opportunity to see what you all have growing on. So I really look forward to seeing all of that as well too. So definitely be sure to do all of that as as we move on and keep growing on here this year too. So, let's see, Rob says bye all, and thanks again. And let's see here. We got Wickershire Project saying thank you, Enoch. Yes, thank you, and thank you very well. Really, really appreciate it. LP saying, great show. Looking forward to your lineup. Absolutely looking forward to seeing you there and jumping in and joining with us in the conversation. Also saying too, love my worm farms. Yes, definitely. Get to growing some worms. Wickershire saying, I got no worms. No worms. Yeah, that's what he said. No worms. Well, like I said, I've been doing mine. I got mine going on right indoors. So however you can do it, got to get you some worms, man. The worm castings are the way to go, and that's definitely I'm gonna definitely be able to show you this throughout the season because, like I said, that is going to be our main input. Is we're going to be making worm teas. We're going to be doing worm compost teas to supplement our gardens. You know, this is how we're going to feed our gardens this year. All right. Okay. And and he says Facebook for photos. I got it. Yes, absolutely. You got photos, even little videos, you know, that sort of thing. You know, like I said, it really is the best opportunity to share all of what you have growing on with me. I love hearing about it. I love seeing all the comments and all that sort of stuff through the comment section and everything, and hearing about, discussing and talking about all these sort of things that you're growing and what you're doing. But visuals are the thing, right? We really want to see a visual. We want to see what they are, and I love gardening. I love it so much that I love to look at all of your gardens as well too. And so definitely be sure to join with us over there and share all of your garden stuff too. So again, too, now I'm getting to the point where I'm just rambling, right? So we definitely know we're here at the end of the show. So again, too, thank you everybody so much for joining with me here today. And and again, too, be sure to be here this next weekend for the very first show of Let's Get Growing. And I'll see all of you next Saturday.